Eric, my name is James Massell. I run MovieDeathblow. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today about Carnival Row Season 2.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time and helping us plug the show.
Were you a fan of Season 1 before you came on as showrunner for Season 2?
I was, yes. I almost worked on season one and I chatted about coming aboard, and then Marvel had other plans. They said, "No, you're going to do Daredevil season 4." And then the entire network got canceled. So it was like, no. I almost worked on season 1.
Gotcha. Don't worry, I've got a Daredevil story for you later, but I won't bore that for you now. When you signed on for Season 2, were you aware that there was going to be the final season, or that came up like in post-production and like before you guys were ready to release?
No, that hit us in the middle of COVID, honestly. Like, I designed a season that could lead to future seasons, along with the writing staff. We were building something to have legs. COVID hit, and Amazon made the correct call in the middle of the season to say it would be the final season. We went back and retrofitted some stuff, and they gave us a couple more episodes very generously to give us the track to do it right. They were very keen on making sure that the season was a satisfying conclusion to this epic roller coaster of a fantasy show. So that's what happened.
Nothing in TV is ever really over. Do you think there's a path in the future if this does super well for maybe some spin-offs or a continuation down the line or anything like that?
I may or may not have had some conversations about that. We'll see.
Gotcha. Obviously, when a new showrunner comes on, they get the opportunity to make some changes. What were some of the things and themes you liked from season 1 and some of the stuff you wanted to change more for season 2?
Well, I chose to pick up the baton from the end of season 1, but I think that I'm all about creating a story that has a frame of change within the season itself. And so we explored the idea of, are we defined by our DNA, or are we what we do? And so I wanted to have kind of a controlling idea that was the frame of the entire season. So we picked up all of the social injustices of season 1, and then we explored how would one respond to those social injustices, and the different answers to those questions are refracted across the different storylines of the season. But when being handed an amazing lush world with like these great creatures and amazing sets, and the production design is like nothing you'll ever see anywhere. It's really kind of over the top. It was kind of a carte blanche to tell a story that had meaning for us, and to be able to put something positive out into the world. And so we tried to do that.
Speaking of social injustices, season 1 ended where they were putting the Fae into the ghettos and stuff like that. And then season 2 really took a hard pivot to 1940s Europe themes with fascism and communism and Nazism and stuff like that. Was that something you really wanted to portray in the show? Like just the treatment of these people who aren't like us, but we should be, taking care of them at that point?
Well, look, I would say that you could even make more modern references to the way people are being treated, to the way immigrants are being treated now. And like, certainly there are allegories to different periods of history where human beings treat other human beings very unfairly. And that was peppered through season 1. And we aimed to pick up on those themes and then to carry them forward with season 2 with, okay, like, do you take up arms against injustice? Do you try to change the system from inside? What are the different ways? Do you run? Do you stay and fight? Like there's all these different kinds of questions that actually speak to some of the stuff that's happening in our real life, not just in the United States, but also around the world, like in our current day. I think we're going through a politically and historically, a time of upheaval and change. And we wanted to touch on all of those themes.
Sure. I know you had some Daredevil season 3 alums in this season. I know you were the showrunner famously for the last season. You had Jay Ali and Joanne Whaley. What were the casting decisions and conversations like with them? Were you like, hey, you guys want to come do this fun fantasy show with me? Like, were they aware of it at the time or no?
Yeah, basically. I said, hey, I called Joanne I said, hey, I got a new show. Before I could even tell her what it was, she said, anything, anytime, anywhere, I'm there. So she kindly came aboard and has a really fun part that like takes the show in a new direction and shows, you know, new colors of existing cast members from season one. And then Jay is just, he's a guy that the cast and crew of Daredevil absolutely loved. He's just so thankful and such a great actor and such a great human being that I called him up, and it was a similar conversation. Hey, you want to come aboard this show? And I threw him into the mix. So I love the idea of having kind of an ensemble of human beings that I just want to work with on project to project. And there are a bunch of folks. I was talking to D'Onofrio at one point, and we were trying to work it out that he could maybe come over and be in Carnival Row too. So yeah, I was you know, future shows.
Sure. You know, Jay was one of my favorite parts of Daredevil season 3 as Agent Nadeem. I just thought like this guy's doing such a good job and he can't catch a break with anything that goes on in that show. But I'm gonna tell you my Daredevil season 3 story as we wrap up here. I was at Comic-Con in New York with you guys for the third season premiere. So I got into the panel. I was in the press row. My wife was outside having a cigarette, and they wouldn't let her in because it was all full at that point. So the panel ends, the show comes out, and then it gets canceled. Whatever. I'm like, you got Daredevil canceled because you missed the panel. That was, you know, if you were there, would have been fine. And now, you know, it's not there anymore because they wouldn't let her in. So it was a whole thing after that.
Oh, well, you know what? Now they've resurrected it on Disney Plus, and we'll see what happens there. I'm very curious.
If they give you a call and they're like, "Hey, Eric, do you want to come help us out with season 1 or 2?" Or is you locked in other things?
I'm having fun playing with Amazon. I'm having a great time in my new sandbox.
I really enjoyed talking to you. I enjoyed season 2 of Carnival Row the same way I love season 3 of Daredevil. I hope to see what you do next, Eric. I think it's awesome. But I appreciate you talking to me today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll make sure that your wife comes into the virtual panel next time.
Yeah. We'll get it. We'll let her know.
All right.
Thank you, Eric.
See ya.